NFC Championship game and the AFC Championship game. Let's do a recap of those four teams. Those two games, JT, could not have been any more opposite in terms of competitiveness. You had the Eagles setting an NFC Championship game record with 55 points against the Commanders, while the Chiefs won an NFL record 17th straight one-possession game, meaning they won 17 straight games where it was a one-possession score, all right? They haven't won 17 straight games, obviously, but when it's been a one-possession game, they have won 17 straight. I think the last time they lost, JT, was like December of, 2023. I don't know, or maybe the Raiders.
The Bengals?
It was the Bengals or the Raiders. Yeah, one of those two back in December of 2023. I think it might have been that Raiders game. But so let's start with the Chiefs. Are they really this good, or is it the refs?
I think you just answered the question. Repeat that stat again. How many games they won in a row in single possession score games?
17 straight.
There you go right there. They're that good when it matters. I mean, that's the definition of clutch. And on top of that, they don't turn the ball over, and they always play the best in the tightest moments. And there's no other team that can say they do that. Like, they might have a bad first quarter, second quarter, but when it comes to that fourth quarter and that game is tight, they turn to Tim Tebow and they get done. So, I mean, they are this good. And I know it's easy to say, like, oh, the refs, this and that. Do the refs give them some calls? Absolutely. But I'm sorry. Patrick Mahomes is no more protected than any of these other quarterbacks in the league that aren't considered running quarterbacks. Because I'm sorry, they all get calls that we don't agree with when it goes against our team. So, I think they're this good, and, we should be glad that we're witnessing this greatness. It is what it is.
They definitely get calls, and they get calls in crucial situations, either game-turning type of calls or late in the game calls. But the coach inside of me says, hey, you got to play through those. Jimmy Johnson's phrase that he told the team going into Notre Dame in the 1988 supposedly is, hey, we're going into South Bend. Don't leave the game in the hands of the officials. If you're playing the Chiefs and you leave the game in the hands of the officials, meaning that 4th and 1, you might be this short or you might have gotten it by this much, you're going to be short. You've got to get it by more than a yard to clearly get it. And so, you look at the Chiefs, they're really this good. They're back-to-back champs, JT, possibly the first team ever to win 3 in a row. But even if they don't, they still won 3 Super Bowls in 5 years. If they win this time, they would win 4 in 6 years. Only the 70 Steelers have done that. I mean, they've got Mahomes and Andy Reid. Andy Reid is 4th in all-time wins as a head coach in NFL history, 2nd in postseason wins all time, only behind Bill Belichick. I mean, you've got Steve Spagnuolo, who, to me, he is this era's Dick LeBeau, right? Not such a great head coach.
You comparing somebody to Dickie LeBeau? Let me mute my mic. This must be serious.
Yeah, I mean, you look at his trajectory, right? Got a chance as head coach after being a good DC, doesn't make it as head coach, and then becomes this great DC where he basically stays with the organization throughout while they have a solidified head coach and a solidified franchise quarterback. And all of a sudden now he's become like the godfather of defensive coordinators, right? He's dialing up corner blitzes off of trips, and no one's expecting it, not even Joe Brady.
You might be right, though, because Chris Jones just said the same thing. It's like, hey, as long as NFL teams don't want to give Spags a job, they're going to keep allowing us to win these Super Bowls because he is the secret weapon. Like you can tell he's getting more comfortable. Like, he's in his bag, like you said, blitzing Trey McDuffie now in crucial situations. Like, there's no way you can stop that, man. Chris Jones alone is impossible to stop, and now they put these young pieces around him on this defense that are actually good too. So, I mean, you forget Spagnuolo's been a great defensive coordinator before he was a head coach too. So it's not like, he's like this. He's this person that just emerged. Like, he's always been a great defensive guy, and you say it sometimes too. Sometimes guys make better coordinators than coaches. It just works out that way.
Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned Chris Jones because that was the other part of the Dick LeBeau side of things where he had such a great relationship with his players. I mean, the Troy Polamalu's, the James Harrisons, like, they'll go to bat for Dick LeBeau anytime of the day. And I think you're starting to see it with the Chief players too now, right? They've had many different pieces come and go lately, Chris Jones being one of the mainstays, but other guys have come and go. And all of a sudden, like, McDuffie's maybe one of the best corners in the league. Like, No,
Karlaftis has turned into to a hell of a pass rusher.
Exactly. Granted, a first-round pick, but so my whole point is, you look at overall. I mean, they've got all the pieces. Like, they've been doing this. Let's not just take the easy road and say it's the refs.
All right.
So let's look at the other team in the AFC title game, the Bills. Why can't the Bills beat the Chiefs? They beat them in the regular season, but now I believe they're 0-4 against the Chiefs in the playoffs. I think out of the last 5 years in the playoffs, they've lost 4 times to the Chiefs.
Destiny, man. Sometimes it's just like that. You saw people went through it with the Patriots. Like, think about all the great teams just in the AFC alone.
The Steelers.
You guys, Baltimore. Like, all those great teams that when you look back, like Peyton Manning falls into this situation too. Like, all these great teams, great offenses, great defenses that just never got a chance to be great because Bill Belichick and Tom Brady were at the top waiting for him. There's nothing they could do about it.
But at least with Manning, though, he at least got him twice in the AFC title game. Like, Josh Allen now is 0-4 in the playoffs.
But I'm saying, though, like, we're talking about Peyton Manning. Like, take Tom Brady out of it, Peyton Manning could be the best quarterback of all time. Like, God knows how many championships he might have. But sometimes you just run into a team that's in your era and there's nothing you can do about it. To be honest, I feel like there's going to be a lot of quarterbacks in our generation that are going to be Hall of Famers, no doubt about it, and they're not going to have a ring. And it's because of Mahomes and Andy Reid. Like, that's the answer to the question. They can't beat the Chiefs because they've got maybe the best quarterback of all time and a top 3 coach. Like, I think that's solidified now. Top 3 coach all time, Andy Reid. Like, what are you going to do with that? Like, Josh Allen, McDermott, and Joe Brady against those two. Like, that's not a competition. So it's just the Chiefs are just that great. That's why the Bills can't beat them.
Yeah, it took you about 4 minutes to get to an answer you could have done in 4
Actually,
seconds.
it was 45 seconds. Relax. Give us your long diatribe about the history of the game. Give us your stats from the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Like, all the shit we don't care about. Go ahead. I'm timing you.
You took forever. Now you're taking up more of my time. It's Mahomes and Andy Reid. You said it at the end. Why can't they beat the Bills? Mahomes and Andy Reid. Andy Reid's an offensive coach. And as a combo, when you have that offensive head coach and a generational quarterback, meaning he can make all the throws and wins, I mean, that's the difference. That's the difference maker. I mean, it is, throw out like all the numbers, throw out the refs, forget Kincaid dropping the ball. It's Mahomes and Andy Reid. They are the new Brady and Belichick. And it's like, it's that combination that just makes it too tough to beat. Mahomes and Andy Reid. So let's stick with the Bills. Who deserves the most blame? The head coach, McDermott, the quarterback, Josh Allen, or you're going to put this loss on somebody else?
Hey, man, look, I don't make the rules. I don't move goalposts. Quarterbacks, they get the credit when they win, and that's the way it is, right? So they got to get the blame when the team loses. I got to blame Josh Allen. And I know this seems like I'm being bitter, but
you are, but it's okay. Go ahead.
I really do have to blame him because, first of all, let's look at the stats. Under 250 passing yards in the biggest game of the year, probably the biggest game of your life. Like, we need you to go off. Like, he should be top 2 MVP discussion. He's a generational talented quarterback. Like, he's Superman. I get that. But we need you to go off. Like, they needed the Josh Allen from, the 2021 divisional game where they had those epic fireworks and then they had to change the rules because they didn't get another chance to get on the field and score. Like, they needed that Josh Allen. Where is that regular season Josh Allen that I'm used to seeing? The 5 or 6 touchdown Josh Allen, 350 yards passing, 90 yards rushing. Like, they needed that guy to show up in this biggest game to get them to the Super Bowl. And he did it. Like, we can nitpick about, the stuff that the professionals have said in the media, the last play, how he didn't do the protection slide the right way, or the fact that Khalil Shakir was the only guy open on that play that didn't get it to. Like, I get that stuff. In the moment, things don't go as planned, but it's the quarterback. Like, he got to play better. Also, low-hanging fruit is Joe Brady. I'm sorry. He still sucks. And he sucked in Carolina. He's been riding the coattails of Steve Esminger ever since he was the pass game coordinator that didn't call the plays on that great LSU national championship team. And he's been arrogant about it ever since. Simply put, the Bills were as good as they were this year because the AFC East sucked. Like, that is what it is. But in this particular moment, I got to put the onus on Josh Allen because he needed to do more, and he didn't. And that is what it is.
I think you can make an argument for that. There's no doubt. But,
he's being rational on this show. That's dangerous. I don't know what's going on.
I also think, though, that the head coach is the same way. Gets too much credit when they win and too much blame when they lose.
He don't get no credit when they win. It's the opposite for him, though. He gets zero credit.
So there's your answer. There's a reason for it. So I'm going to go McDermott. You're a defensive head coach, right? Sean McDermott, defensive head coach. He gave up 43 rushing yards to Patrick Mahomes, and some of those rushing yards were in critical situations. On top of that, you still gave up how many points? 32 points. Like, where's your defense going to make a stop? 39, JT. They go man coverage at the end. They could have gotten the ball back with 50 seconds, and that's all they needed was a field goal to tie. Those are the differences between Andy Reid, Bill Belichick, and then the Sean McDermotts, right? You've got like Sean McVay, you've got Bill Belichick, you've got Andy Reid, all Super Bowl winners, and then you have the Kyle Shanahans and then the McDermotts. They're right there knocking, but they can't get there because of decisions like that. 39, you're a defensive head coach. You go, man, they just slipped that running back right out there, bringing all the other receivers over the middle. But more importantly, so it's not just the situations he puts his guys in or the positions, but then the situations. He started chasing points with these 2-point conversions, and he didn't have quite a good enough plays ready. So all of a sudden now, when you lose by 3, in theory, you probably could have won by 1 or 2. And I know going for 2 and not is like hindsight, it's 2020. But I mean,
because when Dan Campbell does this shit, it's great. It's profound. Like, we've never seen anything like this.
The difference is when Andy Reid does it, it's usually successful, and it ends up being the reason why.
Well, because Andy Reid knows he got Patrick Mahomes in his back pocket.
But you also have
Josh supposed to be with Josh Allen. Like, you got a top 3 quarterback in your back pocket. Okay. Like, everything in the playbook is on the table.
Let me ask you,
is that not true?
Let me ask you this. This is the difference. You've got Xavier Worthy making all these great catches. You've got Juju Smith-Schuster making all these great catches.
Shout out Juju Smith-Schuster, outliving Antonio Brown.
Dalton Kincaid, you got to make that play. Josh Allen, even though they didn't slide the protection, that was a hell of a pass. You've got to admit, he beats the rush to the outside.
He shouldn't have made that pass. He should have passed it to Shakir and trust the play. But I get it. But in that moment, you think you got to go all or nothing. I get it.
He made the play you wanted. If that was Mahomes to Tyreek, it's a catch, and we're saying that's an unbelievable throw by Mahomes, and we don't even give any credit to Tyreek Hill on the catch. So, I mean, Kincaid's got to make that catch. I just don't know what else you want from Josh Allen. I think it comes down
I want more. I want more than 250 yards passing. I want regular season. I want regular season Josh Allen. I want number 1 fantasy player every year, Josh Allen. Is that too much to ask for one more game?
That is not realistic. This is the difference.
How is that not realistic? It is unrealistic to ask somebody who has done this for 16 games for 5 straight years to do it in another game. That's too much to ask for?
I'll tell you why. Let's go back to Lamar and John Harbaugh.
Come on. Why are we always moving? I wasn't going to do this on this show. Why are we always moving the goalpost for this man? We are. He didn't get it done. Get it done. If this were Lamar Jackson, we'd be talking. He's got to do better. We don't ever mention how John Harbaugh is in these situations, because I've always said he's not a great coach, but we never bring that up. We never bring up the weapons. We never bring up any of these other excuses that we're giving Josh Allen. And here we are doing it again. It's the quarterback. You're either going to get it done or you're not.
JT, there's 2 differences.
Oh, my God.
Lamar's 2-time MVP, and for however much you don't like Harbaugh, he's top 5 like in postseason wins all time, and he has a Super Bowl. McDermott doesn't. So that's why I'm going to put on McDermott. Like, Josh Allen played a clean game, 2 touchdowns. He did exactly what Mahomes did with less pieces. I don't know what else you want.
Less pieces?
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, also, shout out to Joe Brady for deciding, hey, like, James Cook is cooking, and we just not gonna give him the ball. Yeah, Ty Johnson, get in there. Let's get you some plays. Are you but Sean McDermott responsible for that?
Absolutely.
Why is Ty Johnson why is Ty Johnson even on in the game plan. This
JT,
dude has been a committee back his whole entire life, and he's usually the third or fourth in the committee.
And
And now he's getting things schemed up for him in the biggest playoff game.
And that's the problem right there. That's the problem. That's
Joe Brady. Joe Brady.
You are not this
Say his
naive.
name. He's not Candyman. Say his name. It's
JT,
Joe Brady.
JT, you are too smart for this. You're telling me the head coach has no say in who plays? Get out of it. Now you're reaching. You're reaching. All right, let's go to the Eagles. You lost that one clearly.
Nah, you just don't want to blame Josh Allen, and I'm not letting you get away with it.
I just did because I.
Nah, you didn't. Sean McDermott.
Do the Eagles have the best roster in the NFL?
Absolutely. Best lines on both sides of the ball, best running game, best defense. The only thing they don't have is the best quarterback. Like, the roster is unbelievably talented from top to bottom. That's nothing else to say about it.
I'm going to disagree. When healthy, it's the Detroit Lions. I mean, you go look at that team, what they did and how they did it. Part of it's the brilliance of Aaron Glenn on defense, but the depth of the secondary, that just goes to show me they had talent on that roster that they couldn't see the field, but when they got a chance to play, they played really well. Now, granted,
it's like every other game, somebody on defense like broke a bone or something. It was crazy.
And the next guy up, I mean, Aiden Hutchinson out, and all of a sudden now they make a trade, and the next guy comes in. Just one thing after another. And Detroit, I know you're going to laugh at this, but being a special teams guy, Detroit has the better kicking game than Philly too.
I mean, they got the better kicker because Elliott, man, he's not all there all the